Hello and welcome to the My Life's a Movie podcast. I'm your host, Dre.
And Artimis.
And we're bringing you episode 2 of our podcast here. And I do want to apologize for the audio on the first podcast. This second one should be twice as good.
Slowly moving on up.
Oh, 100%. This podcast we're going to talk about a bit of heavy stuff with some fluff in there.
Like marshmallows. Marshmallows!
Yep.
That sounds great.
And you got your marshmallow fluff? I'm sorry, what is it called?
The Squishimals, those new stuffed animals all over like TikTok and all social media that people are like collecting, and it's super weird, but like you understand once you like grab it and you just squish it. It's so satisfying.
And how many do you have? Just one?
Just 3.
You have 3? So you have your Yoda one, your tie-dye bunny, and what's your last one?
I have a goat. I bought a goat today.
Oh.
But like all of the stores across town are sold out, and I didn't know that a few days ago when I randomly happened upon them in a grocery store. I was like, oh, there's a lot of cool ones here. Didn't think about it. They're sold out everywhere.
Yeah, because I know you wanted that gnome, right?
I did want the gnome. The gnome with the pink hat. I remember it. It was important to me.
I don't know what you are talking about, but I can pretend that I do.
It's good enough for me.
Yeah, so we'll have some fluff like our little marshmallow friend over there. And then we will also have some more deep things to talk about. But I know you were recently watching a show.
The Gilmore Girls?
Yes, and I have not seen anything of the show. But you were absolutely adamant to tell me some story about it.
I don't think you even said you heard of it before.
No, never.
So it's kind of an older show.
How old?
I don't know.
2000s?
Early 2000s or like 1990s. I think the late.
Okay.
But anyways, I think it is so great. It is my my heartfelt, not even guilty pleasure, but just like comfort show.
Uh-huh.
And I could not sleep for the life of me last night. So I was up until 4 a.m. watching Gilmore Girls. And I like to watch it in spurts, like a little bit of binging, and I'll start a little sooner than I left off just to catch up and everything. But last night's episode
Tell me about
got me a little pressed.
Mm-hmm.
So the basis of the show, since you've never seen it, is
get me on track.
their mother and daughter. They're like the best of friends. The mother's Lorelai. Her daughter is also named after her, but we call her Rory for the TV show. And they're like the best of friends. They live in this small little town. Anyways, there's this guy who is also in town that's really good friends with Lorelai, and I believe that they belong together.
Uh-huh.
Like, they just fit
You believe
so well.
they belong together.
They belong together. And I haven't gotten super far in the show, so maybe they end up together. I will be so happy. But they belong together, Luke and Lorelai. It just... Oh.
No question? Can't fight it at all?
I mean, you'd probably fight it. But
okay, perfect.
The chemistry between them, like, he just is, like, so short and, like, one-answered words with sass and, like, sarcasm. And she's just like, okay, Luke, like, whatever you say, buddy.
Oh, so she's got it right back in of.
Yeah, and they work so well together. But the last episode I watched, Rory's dad, which is Lorelai's ex, came back into the picture for a few days. And the epitome of romance and charm and all the love story that they had before Rory was born, which Lorelai was 16, they were super young, so they split up afterwards.
Oh, okay.
But Lorelai has this thing where she just keeps going back to Christopher, like Rory's dad, in the back of her mind.
The way you said Christopher.
I don't know.
Animosity towards him.
Well, okay, I don't know what Christopher is, though. It's purely at that character.
Okay.
And he's, like, all smooth moves, Mr. Man, but, like, Lorelai, what do you see in him? He's moved on. He doesn't care about you. Just love Luke. Like, please.
Uh-huh.
I'm really passionate about that.
So that has you priced. You want the ones that they need to be together.
Yes. And there's a good chance that they end up together in the end, but I'm like, now. Feed me now.
Oh, you're like,
give it to me.
You don't want a show, you just want the ending right now.
Yes. some spicy nachos. For
Well,
my day.
you can tell by how many episodes are left that you got a lot more to go, huh?
Yeah, I do. Maybe I'll binge some more tonight.
You can't put it down, huh?
I can, but I just finished another movie, or TV show that just came on Netflix. I think it's Seeing Behind Her Eyes.
Stain behind her eyes?
Seeing.
Oh, seeing behind her eyes.
Or From Behind Her Eyes.
Okay.
Something like that. Oh my gosh. It's really good and you need to watch it.
What about?
There's a lot going on, a ton of drama. She ends up right in the middle of a couple where she's sleeping with the guy, best friends with a girl. It's just, it was so good. Binge that. But now that that's over, until I find a new binge TV show, Gilmore Girls it is.
I think my most recent binge was Tattoo something. It's a Netflix show, and I think it's Ink Master. It's called Ink Master.
Oh.
And it's where they're doing tattoos on people. It's a competition for money and stuff. I remember watching that, and that I ended up binging it to at 4 a.m.
You
like
liked
you.
it that much?
Yeah, and I finished it. Well, I don't know how much I liked it, but I wanted to see who won, and I didn't want to watch it the next day. So I was like, I'm gonna finish this now and just end it.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm the most unorganized person on earth, and I was binging those organizational shows that came on Netflix.
Oh, the one girl.
With Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's good one.
addicting.
I don't like watching the mess. I don't like seeing the mess at the start. The ending's satisfying, sure, but I hate seeing the start.
Some of them aren't that bad though. Like they're just cluttery, not messy.
Yeah. So those ones I'm like, oh, okay. And then you realize how much stuff they actually have, and I'm like, jeez, that's a lot. You walk into their garage and it's just like boxes and boxes, and you're like, how do you keep that much?
You'd be surprised. I've seen some people hoard some weird stuff, but I mean, whatever.
I mean, there's people that keep the stuff their exes give them, so.
Okay, I do. I'm not attached in that way. And, like, when they give it to me, okay, that sounds terrible. No. When they give it to me, like, the gift is out of love, and I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. But when they pass on, if I really like the gift, I'm like, hey, that's a good memory, but even if I hate your guts, I mean, I'm not going to throw the thing away. The thing never did anything to me. And it doesn't remind me of that person unless someone asks me, hey, where'd you get that from? I'd be like, oh yeah, this douchebag gave that to me 4 years ago.
Jesus. Oh my god. I think the only thing I keep are clothing, things like that I use, that I got from them. So I have one, or maybe two, a couple things from a couple exes that I keep because it's clothing and I like my clothing. But like all the sentimental stuff and like, paintings, yada yada, any of that stuff, I just get rid of it. Like Polaroids, all that.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Polaroids you gave me too.
Yeah, I gave you one of them.
Okay, so there is one thing that I got from an ex. It was a blanket for Christmas, and it was a really soft, nice blanket. Like, they probably paid a decent amount from, like, a department store.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really comfy, and I used it for a while after we broke up, and then I was like, this is probably in bad taste. And so I was going to give it away, and my Nana went by, and I guess she felt it, and she, like, grabbed it, and she's like, can I keep this? And I was like, yeah, it's from Mr. like douchebag face. And she's like, okay, we don't like him. And I was like, no, we don't like him, but we can keep the blanket, it doesn't bother me. So that blanket today is like covering our couch, and like the dogs love it, and everyone says it's so soft, and I don't know if it'd make him mad or make him like,
fuck Mr. Douchebag.
But like I'm not attached. I see it and I don't even think about it until like,
it's just Nana's blanket now.
yeah.
Oh,
Nana, what's penguins on it or something? It's really soft. It's really cool.
That's cool.
I'm trying to think of anything else that I've kept. I currently have a shirt from an ex, and it reminds me because he would just talk about this topic all of the time, and it's like printed on the front of the shirt, but it's a soft shirt, so like I'll wear it if it's laundry day or whatever.
What topic?
Oh, it says Moscow on it.
Moscow? You talked about Russia?
I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah.
Russia?
All the time.
Is the man Russian?
Technically?
That's cap. Don't technically me. That's a no.
Well,
He wants to be Russian looking at.
He says he has ethnicity from Russia.
Yeah, my family's from like Hungarian. Oh, looking ass. He ain't Russian. Talk about Moscow all the time.
Man, maybe I don't know. Now I feel like I should get rid of it. It's just a soft shirt though. Like if it's laundry, I'll be like,
I don't know. I keep it because it's drip and it actually looks good.
It does look good.
Yeah, and I'm dripped out. I'm like,
if
I look good. This is more for me than it's for you at this point.
Like the sacrifice, man.
Yeah, like the old jewelry. Get rid of that too. Jewelry from them.
Oh, I do get rid of jewelry, but usually, and this is terrible, I'll re-gift it.
Oh, I've re-gifted a lot.
So I'll like clean it up and like put it in a pretty box and be like, here.
Do you re-gift a lot?
No, but I've re-gifted jewelry, to like some of the smaller little minions in my family. They're like around 6 or 7, and they love jewelry, and jewelry is expensive. So like,
yeah,
I'll have that.
I've re-gifted a couple things. A lot more recently. Like there was a shirt that I re-gifted. There was a little plushie that I re-gifted. A whole lot of things. It's one of the in and out ones that I got you.
Oh, you never gave it to her.
Yeah, so I picked someone else.
Oh, alright.
Oh, you know who I didn't talk about on the last podcast?
Who?
On someone you want to be with, but didn't for your health. That part.
Yeah, I remember.
I want to pull up a picture so I don't say the name on accident, because I'm pretty bad at that. But they're friends with one of my exes. But I had a crush on this girl since, I think, elementary school or middle school, one of the two. And I had a crush on her ever since. But I never said anything to her. And then when I finally thought about saying something to her, I found out she was friends with one of my exes, and I have never entertained the idea again. So that would be an addition
and I know
to.
Her?
Do you know her?
I think I do.
Yeah, she went to my high school before.
Oh, yikes. That's a situation. You're like, man, I really would have liked to date you, and I probably would have chose you if only I knew, but now it's never going to happen.
Yeah, now that's just, that would make me, like, it's like one of those things where it's like, would you take someone back if you weren't a bad person or something? And I'm like, nah, like, I could never take someone back that, like, I did wrong to and they forgave me, because there's two ways that you take someone back, right? You did wrong to somebody and then they forgave you, or they did wrong to you and you forgive them. But I would never forgive somebody, and then if somebody forgave me, I would never be able to get over the fact that I did wrong to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that would bother me more than the other situation.
So there was this guy way back in middle school, and
History lesson?
a little bit of history. I think you know this. I'm not sure. He really liked me. I liked him too, and we talked a lot during like winter break, and we went back to school. We're in middle school, but we still talked a lot. Like, I liked him, and he decided to ask me out in front of a crowd of people.
Oh, I remember this.
To be his girlfriend. And I said yes, because everyone's watching and everyone's cheering, and it's pretty loud. Like, multiple of my friend groups were watching, and so I ran off, I think, to the bathroom because I wanted to avoid everyone at that point. And I think I avoided him for like the next 3 days. Like, I didn't text him, I didn't talk to him, and the last thing he remembers is me saying, yes, I'll be his girlfriend.
Oh, and you never talked to him again?
I talked to him again, but like for the next 3 days, I didn't talk to him. I avoided him, and he caught me once because he knew where my classes were, and my best friend was in classes with him, so he just followed her. And he's like, hey, I got you a Christmas present. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet of you. You shouldn't have done that. And he's like, yeah, I don't really care about you. And I told him, well, I I can't date you, I'm sorry. And I told him it was because I couldn't date, which is true. I wasn't supposed to date. I wasn't given my parents, yes, you may go, leave the tree, be with these boys, hold their hands in school. No, that wasn't a thing. So, I accepted the Christmas gift. I gave him one as well. And he kept telling me, like, no, we can work around it. Like, we can do this. Like, I really want to make this work. And I was like, no. And it really was a situation where I had pretty much led him on. And I felt so bad. And I was like, I said yes, got his hopes up. And then I was like, no, I can't do this. And we were really awkward. And I thought he was bitter towards me. Turns out, like, a few years later on social media, he reached out to me. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not mad at you. Like, you know, we're kids and all this. And I was like, oh, I feel so bad.
Oh.
Like, I broke your heart, and I knew that I did that. I didn't even want to try things. I don't know what's wrong with me.
It's easier to get over someone that, like, middle school because you feel like a kid and you kind of grow up.
Mm-hmm.
But I've led people on at an older age, and that doesn't work out so well.
Well, it does if... Okay, I have a certain name that I have dated a few times, and I just have to write them off the list. Like, I can't date someone with this name for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
But that one guy, like, I guess I kind of led him on. I'm just super nice. People don't take my niceness well. They're like, oh, you're nice?
They always go two directions with it. They either fall in love with you, or they think that you're fake.
Yes, absolutely, that is a problem I have. So many people hate me, or say they hate me.
Just because you're nice. They literally know nothing about you.
They're like, either you're too nice, I can't trust you, or like, you're nice and won't date me.
Yeah.
And it makes me mad, because you won't date me.
It's terrible.
It's a cycle. But, hey, you had some people hate you for, like, no reason.
Hey, I live for it, though, because I live for drama. I love to start it. I'm a demon. I'm a heathen, so people come to me with drama and stuff. I think that's why a lot of people that don't like me never talk to me again, is because, you know, when you bring that hate to me, I have fun with it, and I run with it. So they struggle to hurt me, and I find it very easy to hurt them, so...
You're full of power. You are a heathen, but we made a good team in high school.
Yeah, we survived.
The dream team over here.
And we made it out as good people, and now I'm not as evil. Now I'm more of talk shit, but don't do it to them, and don't bring any mean energy into the world.
I'm really proud of you for how far you've come since I've known you. Honestly, you've grown so much as a person, and I love it. It's so wholesome.
I appreciate it, huh?
Yeah, of course.
I turn my bad energy into good energy.
Oh, so that reminds me, I was talking to my friend John the other day.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He brought up a really good point. We were talking about relationships and stuff and feels and vibes being brought up into the world, and he said, well, if you're so confident in what love is for you, what is the opposite of love? How do you stop loving someone?
Oh. You told me your answer, but not how you got to it. And I have beef with your answer, so I must know.
So,
please tell me.
We were talking about
the opposite of love to you.
And he convinced me that...
Oh, you got this from him.
Yes, we talked about it, and he was fairly proud, and this is what he had noticed and saw so far, and we have a lot in common about the way we think.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to him, and he had a good point. The opposite of love is indifference. And it shook me the first time I heard it, and I was like, that makes no sense.
So that's what I'm at that stage right now.
But neither does the opposite of love is hate. Because if you hate someone, you still have all that feeling. They still have all the power. Like, you are feeling emotion against them. So it's not the opposite of love. You can hate someone, and I feel like it's still not the opposite of love. It's so close to love. You're putting all that feeling and effort into the world.
I guess I can see where you're coming from in a way because most love things that happen in your life turn into hate at some point, and unless it's like the true love person you marry, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But even like family members, you love them, you hate them, you go back and forth. It's very close and touchy, but I can see how they're opposites at the same time. I don't think it's exactly what I would say is the opposite of love. I wouldn't say it's hate. It comes to mind when you think of the opposite of love because obviously if you love someone, that means you feel like it's almost like you're putting them on a pedestal.
You could never hate
Like
them.
yeah, you could never hate them, something like that. And then when you hate someone, you're like, I could never love this person, something
Yeah,
like that. It's
we
it.
got beef.
They're
I could
obvious
throw you in a lake.
opposites, but if you look at it from the way you're looking at it, I can see how they're so close, especially if you're looking at relationship wise, because those go from love to hate very quickly. But
Well, it goes back to what is your definition of love?
yeah, exactly. Because the way you guys are defining love is like a strong emotion, and it's like you guys aren't giving like any credit to love there. Feels like
So,
you kind of beefing with love a little bit, and you're not like, because hate and love are super different. But to say they're so close, I can't agree with it.
well, we do think differently. Like me and you process things a little differently. So what love is to me is all that effort and trust and the hurdles that you jump through, and this person fuels me so much. Like my thoughts are influenced by them. I want to invest in them. I want to think about the future and possibilities and how compatible we are. Like it kind of is so important as feeling so much emotion. I feel everything. And that's what a love is to me. So the opposite would be feeling absolutely nothing. And I feel like that hurts the most. Like
Numbness.
numbness to this person. Not that they don't matter, but you just kind of shrug. Like, I could care, but I don't. And that's probably the thing that could hurt someone the most that loves you.
I guess that's why. I can see that as well because it's a lot of relationships become to never talking again, and you don't feel anything towards them anymore, and that's kind of your opposite of love.
If you still love that person, wouldn't it sting?
I mean, depends on who you are.
I guess that's true. You feel in a different way.
Yeah, 100%, because people's brains work differently. Because I can still love someone and never feel pain.
What is love?
Well, for me, love is the attachment to something and like caring about it, and it's not about effort and things like that. To me, it's more like, I care about you, and I can never talk to somebody for like 2 years and still love them, and be like, that's my boy, and forever that'll be my boy. Like your funeral, I'll be there. Like your wedding, I'll be there. But it's like, am I gonna text you daily? Nothing like that. Am I gonna go out of my way do those things that you were talking about? What your love is, like that strong emotion and stuff. It's a strong emotion, and it's like wanting to do stuff for them and like being there for when they need you and being available for them is what I think it is. It's more of like open. Love is kind of like an open arms thing to me. It's like if you ever need something or anything like that, it's like don't hesitate to ask, and it's never like a barter trade, like you don't owe me for this. It's like, yo, I love you, I got you, this is for you. Like it's because it's who you are and who you've been in my life that I care about you and that I do these things for you. That's what love is to me. And I guess with the relationships, it's a bit different. Love is a strong emotion, but it's a trust, it's a thing like that. It's not effort and wanting to do things and stuff like that. It is wanting to do things, but it's like, I guess you can say it's wanting to do things. It depends who they are and the wanting to do with things. I can see it with certain people, like maybe relationship, you want to do things for them because they are your intimate partner, and you want to spend more time with them because of how different relationship love is from general love. But it's like family love, it's like, yeah, I want to do things for you, but I'm not going to be like showing up randomly, giving you gifts and stuff. It's more like, I want to do stuff for you when I feel like it's appropriate to do stuff for you. And when I do stuff for you, I expect nothing in return.
So I think it's hard for me to describe love, and it's hard for me. So in my opinion, or if you ask me, if I have to ask you or ask myself whether or not I love someone, like in the beginning, then I don't love them. Like if I have to think about it and find things that convince me that I love you, then I don't love you. Like, I feel this thing, I just feel it so hard that it's true. Like, there's people I have as family that are ride or die. I can come to them anytime in life. I don't have to talk to them. They can put minimal effort into our relationship, and I just feel this way about them.
Yeah, see,
like, I would do anything for you.
That's your specialty, and mine is the opposite, right? Where I can feel nothing and convince myself that I love you. Right? I could have absolutely no feelings and look at the logic and be like, oh, I should love this person. Right.
I think you've actually had that thought process.
100%. 100%. 100% I've had that thought process before. And I've been through that. I've been through that a couple times where it's like, I'm at the point in a relationship where I no longer love this person, but I've convinced myself that I do. I think that's happened in all but 2 of my relationships. Where I'm like, and I mean, I have 6, so that's not bad odds. But they're more recent, so it's kind of, or no, it's 3. Oh, it's half. It's half. Oh. But I would convince myself that I still love them, so I'm still with them, but I feel nothing for them. In fact, I'm starting to dislike them. And I dislike when they ask to spend time with me and stuff like that. That's not healthy to have in a relationship, but in my mind, I'm like, yo, look at all this stuff these people are doing for you, and you still care about them, so you should love this person. And it's like, the feelings aren't there, and since I'm not a big feeler, I'm more of a thinker, I'm like, I'm looking at all this stuff in my brain, I'm like, analyzing the code of love, I'm like, oh, statistically, I should love this person, I'm like, in all science mode, and it just doesn't make any sense, because I'm not feeling hard enough.
Well, you know that?
And then you do the opposite.
No, I feel too much.
Where you be feeling love for, like, a rat.
Hey, but that rat pretty,
It's a dead rat on the side of the road, and you treating it like it's straight out of Ratatouille.
I mean, he let me pet him once.
He let you pet him because he's dead and he's not moving.
He told me I was pretty.
You can get attached to like a single like event in your mind where you're like, you know, you fall in love with that single event. For me, it's kind of the opposite. I can get attached to a single moment that happens and dislike a person because of it.
I did not know that you actually knew that about me. I didn't even make that
I mean,
connection.
There's certain things you can kind of notice about somebody. You have like one moment that you remember everyone for.
That's 100% true.
Well, you have more than that, but it's like you have your big one. That when they come to mind, that's the first thing you think of.
Yeah,
that's your big story for them.
And the reason I liked this guy in the past so much, there was this one guy, is because he made me feel like we were in a Hallmark movie. But that's not the healthiest thing. If you watch all those Hallmark movies back to back,
aren't they like love hates?
Yeah, they're like love hates.
They love and then hate each other.
Yeah, there's like love triangles. There's all kinds of toxic stuff in those Hallmark movies.
But the happy ever afters.
Yeah, that's what I was aiming for. I wasn't looking at the current state of the relationship. I was like, look at how this is going. It's so tough right now because we're gonna have like the best ending.
Oh yeah, that's so cute. That's such a cute idea.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have that.
Until they fuck me over.
Yeah, I don't have that because I trust nobody. I trust absolutely nobody, especially with my heart. I'm like, because I don't take much in life serious. But one of the things I do take serious is my relationships, and that's why I'm such a different human being in my relationships than in normal life. But when it comes to like love and figuring that out, it's very hard. But have you seen To All the Boys I Ever Loved, or the name I always get wrong?
Yes, To All the Boys I've Loved.
Have you seen the third one?
I am half. Did I finish it today? I might have finished it today.
Okay.
I fell asleep and I had to restart it, but I definitely got halfway through.
Well, one of the lessons that I learned from it, at least, it's like one of the big point moments. Maybe it's supposed to stand out, maybe not, but it's one of the things that I saw, and I was like, that's smart, and it reminded me of what you said, is that he said, like, love is about effort, something like that, and and like, it was a father-son talk, and there ain't much that can make me cry in feels, but father-son, anything, that can get me to cry, 100%.
That gets me crying, too.
Oh my, father-son moments kill my heart. Like, you know, mother-daughter moments, that hits too, but not quite the same for me, because I am attached to my father like a motherfucker.
Oh, no, I understand. I get more emotional over the father son talks just because they're so touching. And my dad was one for like pep talks. My mom, not so much.
Your mom's a enigma. She's cool though.
She's cool. I miss her.
But yeah, like the lesson you're supposed to learn, or that he's like, is like, love is about effort, and he's like, and you know, it's a father, so he's always hard, right? But that's the best part about the father-son talks and stuff, is that he gets soft, and you see that soft, and you're like, oh, dad went soft, and it's so cute, and it's so touching. But he's like, you know, I fucked up, man, and he's like, I learned that love is about effort. And you were talking about how love is about effort, and I was like, that's smart. And he was like, if I just tried harder, I could have been, you know, living this life. Because he, you know the story, he moved on, he had different family and stuff. Peter's dad, sorry.
Well, there's so many chances where friends and, like, lovers, I was, like, on the verge of things, and either I ended things or I separated myself from the person or told them that it was over. And if they would have just put in the tiniest bit of effort, even in the end, I probably would have been like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I learned from my last relationship, is that when I put in effort and cared a lot and actually did all that, I could continuously make it work no matter what was happening. Mm-hmm. And where in my other relationships, I stopped giving effort because some feeling came up and I started to dig a hole because I got attached to one thing that happened. And I would hate the person from it, and I couldn't fix my view. But I eventually got over that, and then I put effort in. And then the movie taught me, I was like, wait, that's why that kept working. That's why the toxic relationship kept working, is because I kept putting in effort.
I don't think that was the point, but that's still a lesson learned.
Yeah, I'm learning this stuff. I'm learning how to love better, and then eventually I become a good person in general.
I want a Peter Kavinsky.
Bro, I want a Peter. I don't want him.
You want a Laura Jean?
No, I want Peter.
I do. I want Peter
Shit,
too.
I ain't bi, I ain't gay, but I slide for Peter. God damn, shorty bad.
And maybe I want a Laura Jean. Like she's
Filipino,
so sentimental.
I'm a slide.
Not because of that.
I'm a slide.
Because she's so sentimental and caring and thoughtful. I identify with her a lot, especially the overthinking.
Yeah, my biggest problem with her is that she does a lot of, I call it girly shit. Where it's like they be like pouty for over stupid shit. It's like, what you want me to do? Like the scene where he has practice, and then the coach makes him stay after running the bleachers, and she's at the coffee shop with the seat, and keeps telling people, nah, my boyfriend's coming. And it's like, how you mad at him for out there chasing his dreams, and he's out here getting practiced by the coach, and it's against the rules for him to be on his phone? How can you be mad? And then he's like, man, I should have made he puts the blame on himself. I'm like, that's a co-op maneuver, man. That's like, hey, if practice goes long, don't wait on me. All right? I'll send you a text when I'm out of practice. Or something like that.
I know that did make you mad. I was sitting right next to you. Like,
I was like, really? You gonna get pouty over that? But it did teach me a little lesson in the movie where, like, it's you know, you're inside her head. She's talking to herself, whatever. One of those moments. And she's like, you know, it's crazy how things can go from bad to good so quickly because they go to the carnival, they're having a great time. So she immediately forgets about the bad. And I'm like, that's such a girl thing. Because if that's me, I'm upset about that coffee shop all day, right? There's no way I'm getting over that if a girl does that to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it all day now. Instead of feeling in the moment like, oh, I feel hurt and annoyed right now that I'm stuck in this coffee shop and you had me sitting here for hours waiting for you to get here. And then we go to the carnival and we have a good time. Okay, but I'm still mad about the coffee shop.
Well, I can tell someone, like, hey, you did this and it kind of upset me, or this bothered me, but I know why it bothered me and it's not, like, a good reason. Like, I don't want you to change anything. I just want to let you know how I feel and I'm trying to feel different about it. Or can I have some reassurance? And that's just because I'm critically aware of how I feel. So I'm like, hey, like, I just want to make you aware of this. Usually things go smoother if I'm just honest. Because when I, like, pent it up and, like, don't talk about it, I just get mad over little things so they add up and I burst like a volcano.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I just don't want to upset them. If I don't think it's a big deal, but if I don't talk about it, I don't get over it.
It becomes a big deal to you.
Yeah.
And then you can, when you go to them about it, you're like, I know this probably isn't a big deal, but it really bothers me, and it didn't bother you until you never talked about it. So if you talk about it in the moment, like, a one-off sentence, they give you a, my bad, didn't mean it like that, you're done with it. But if you get that sentence, like, a month later, you're like, this is way bigger in my head than what you just gave me.
Or even like, hey, this upsets me, and they're like, okay, but this shouldn't upset you, so how can we work on it or compromise?
Yeah.
Like, alright.
That works fine, like, in the moment. But if you say, this shouldn't upset me, and I'm bringing it up a month later, and I've been upset for a month, and you say it shouldn't upset me?
Oh, it's a big deal.
Now I'm upset.
You pressed.
Don't tell me how to feel, alright? I feel how I feel. Don't fucking tell me how to feel. Don't disrespect my feelings like that.
I've always said that, like, feelings are valid. Like, emotions are completely valid, and it's okay for you to be upset about almost anything, because you can't control how you feel, but you can control how you act. You can control what words you say to people, what actions you choose. So sometimes, like, just cooling out for a second, I'll be like, hey, might want to break someone's bones, but...
But I won't.
But I won't. And maybe sometimes I'll tell them, yeah, I kind of want to hit you in the head with a baseball bat, but we're cool. Right?
Just to let them know how you feel.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know why you feel
That's
like that.
That's an extreme example, but...
Hey, the extremes give the best examples. And that reminds me of Dr. K. Is a guy that, he's like a psychology...
the Kellogg's...
No. He's like a psychology guy, like one of those guys that, like, looks into mind, kind of like a therapist, but the other versions.
What are you watching him on?
He does, he has this little organization he made called Healthy Gamers, and what he does is basically he influences, like, he tries to get, like, people to talk about their feelings and stuff and what's wrong with them, basically. I don't know exactly how to describe it because I don't know any of the terms, but I like to watch him because he does streamers, like, Twitch streamers. He brings them on and has them talk about things that affect them, like existential dread, anxiety.
That's super important.
Yeah, it's important things to talk about that these people don't talk about, and because they're kind of mini celebrities, having that outlet to talk about and see people talk about it, it helps a lot of people. And then he has an organization that has personal health coaches and stuff that go to normal human beings that aren't like these mini celebrities and help them too. And watching him, I was watching Ludwig's little video he made with Dr. K, and he was talking about how, like, he didn't feel like he deserved to go on Dr. K's show because he was like, I'm a pretty okay guy. Like, I don't have anxiety and, like, all that stuff. So, and then Dr. K was like, how you feel is valid kind of thing. Like, any problems that you have are valid, and everyone's equally, because people compare themselves a lot. So that's what you reminded me of right there. It's like, everyone's feelings matter, and it's like, everything matters.
Well,
and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to others.
Yeah. Speaking of, like, relating to someone, especially, like, those smaller figures but are still public figures, I watched this guy named Joey Kidney, and I actually just finished another one of his recent podcasts yesterday, I think.
What's it called?
Oh, The Happy Times.
Cool.
It's a good podcast. I'd recommend it to people. But what he brought up was that a lot of people will tell him how his stories and his poetry are so relatable, and him talking, like, helps them a lot. And how do you know so much at, like, a young age? And he's like, I know who the hero is. I know who the bad guy is because I've played both. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the hero and I can identify when people are bad. He said, I've been bad. I've led people on. I have gone on short dates trying to get over a relationship and knowing that I'm not going to fall in love, that I can't fall in love, and still try and date and not be 100%. Or he said he was upfront with them. As long as you are honest, it's fine. But I think he went into, like, some other things that don't necessarily make him a nice guy. And that's what is so relatable. Like, we aren't always the good guy, and I can identify with, I've done some things that I don't like, that I regret, and I wasn't playing the hero.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, listen, I have a super high morals and all of that stuff, and that's what prevents me from doing bad stuff a lot of the time. But doing the bad stuff is way more fun than doing the good stuff. 100%. So I spend a lot of time doing good stuff, and I kind of just stay inside and stay focused on like school and being good to stop me from wanting to do bad stuff. But I still do bad stuff all the time, and it's mainly with the women in my life. they get the rough side of the life. It's funny though.
Okay.
I enjoy the stories that I've gotten out of them, but I don't enjoy the things I put them through, right? Mm-hmm. I don't enjoy what I made them feel, but it's like, now that I have these stories, I want to talk about them so that people can understand, like, what it's like. Mm-hmm. Just to give them perspective. Because it's like, I'm not a bad person, but I did bad things, and most of the time with good intention.
Yeah, I think a lot of, like, people like to call other people bad people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can really, except for in extreme cases, like, it's not fair to call someone, like, a bad person. I mean, it's always, you can call people good people all the time because, you know, it's positive, you're putting, like, good vibes out into the world, but it's all about intentions. Like, I could ruin someone's day and have the best intentions. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I go into the office and I buy one of my team members a coffee because it looks like they haven't had the best of times lately, and I set it down in front of their desk and, like, give them, like, a little hug and walk away. And I feel so good about myself. Like, I really just wanted them to feel better, and I really hope it does. Maybe they hate hot coffee, they have an allergic reaction, they were feeling so upset that little bit of social interaction tipped them over the edge, they have to cry in, like, the break room, or they're going through a lot, and I just made their day that much worse, and that's the complete opposite of what I wanted to do.
Is this PTSD, or is this all your head right there just made a story real quick?
No, that was just all in my head, like, making a story right now.
Okay, because that sounded real.
No, that actually hasn't happened to me, that specific scenario, but there's a Netflix show called The Good Place,
mm-hmm.
and it's mainly where you go after you die, and you go up to the good place, and if you're not a good person, like, they'll count up your points, and if you don't reach a certain place, you go to the bad place, and so that's the basis of the show, and later on, a couple seasons in, I believe, the real question comes up: how do we know who's good and who's bad? And how does this number system even make sense? Because two actions could be the same, like getting my friend a coffee. And one ruins that friend's day or inconveniences them, and the other one's happy. So one person gets those points, and the other person gets minus points for the same act, but they had the same intention.
Yeah,
so
I see.
The thing is, whether or not you make this person happy or complete a good deed, or whether you intended to complete a good deed, what's better? Are you a bad person?
The intention is way more important, mm-hmm. because if you put any emphasis, it's terrible and completely toxic to teach people to make someone else happy.
Mm-hmm.
You should only be wanting to make them happy, not forced to make them happy, right? So it's like actions that I'm willing to do should make you happy if I'm trying to make you happy. Or no, they shouldn't make you happy, but
they're coming from a good place.
Those are the actions I should be doing. It's actions I'm comfortable doing that I want to try and make you happy with. And I shouldn't be forced to do actions I don't want to do in order to make you happy.
Yeah, I get where you're going with that, actually.
Yeah, don't tell me that I should be making you happy. It should be I'm trying to make you happy because I want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about me, less about you when I commit an action.
No murder.
No, but that reminds me of the happy place or whatever, reminds me of what my opposite of love is, which is remorse. And kind of like a death kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because those are also very close, because you can love someone, and then after they die, you have the remorse and, like, the missing them and all that. But
you still love them?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's more of not exactly death scenario.
Well,
I'm just explaining it in that way.
What I'm imagining is a wedding versus a funeral.
Yeah, basically. It's the happy versus sad. So it's like,
okay.
If you're talking about love in the sense that we are, it's more of like a relationship thing and whatnot, that the love exists, and then what happens after the love if you no longer love that person. Like, you're kind of opposite there. If we're talking about the opposite of love in general, that's hate 100%, and I'd fight anybody that thinks that that's wrong.
You can have that opinion.
Because
I'll let you have it.
Because the not feeling anything or whatever, that's like, what's the opposite of a strong emotion? No emotion. Okay, sure. Play your side. You have your opposites. You can argue yours all you want, but love and hate are opposites.
All right.
They're two sides of the same coin, but they're opposites.
Okay, but let's get back to remorse.
But in like the remorse and the missing and that stuff is my opposite of love in like the relationship kind of sense. It's you love that person, but now it's like you're getting over that person. It's like, what are you going to do now that they're gone? Those types of feelings that you have. Where it's like, if you lose a family member or something, they're not around, they used to be a big part of your life. You know, it's very sad. It's a much sadder idea. So love is a very happy idea, and the opposite of love is a very sad idea for me. That they're like happy, sad. Mine's like the left, right, yours is the top, down, right?
Well, it makes sense. When I think about how you think and how you explain things to me, I can get where thinking about love, it makes sense that love would be this happy celebration, top of the world
thing. Yeah, because love obviously can be sad, but my opposite, from personally, would be the sad. Because when I'm sad and not feeling happy about someone I love, that's the opposite of love to me.
Okay.
Right. But I still love that person, but that's my opposite. It's like my love to me is supposed to be happy. And that's kind of a skewed perspective because that's not what love is. But like that's my head canon of love is a happy thing.
What you want from love. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you should want to be happy. Like I want to be happy. That's what I want to be, what I aim for. You sure? You kind of weak. I want to be happy there. No, I do want to be happy. I just sometimes it doesn't look like I do. But what I choose, who I choose to be with, it doesn't look like I want to be happy. It looks like I'm putting myself in like endless suffering and torment. Yeah, I second that. But I do want to be happy. I want to have a healthy relationship. That's what I'm scoring for. Like, John asked me, he said, well, what do you want in a partner? He's like, do you know what you want? That's a hard question. And it was a hard question. And I thought about it, and I said, well, more than anything, I want to feel secure. I want to be in a healthy relationship and contribute to it, like in a healthy way. And I want to be with someone who is, has a secure attachment. Yeah. Like, not... No toxic behaviors kind of thing. Yeah, and I mean... Like, you don't... I'm not asking for nobody perfect, none of that. Mm-hmm. I'm asking, like, don't hurt me. If we fight, it needs to be normal fights. It needs to not get violent, not get abusive, not you're mentally messing with me. Like, none of that. You need to be past that. You need to, like, asking if you have those problems... like, is, like, a low bar. And I haven't even gotten there yet. Now I've gotten there, but I wasn't there before. That's a low bar. Yeah, 100%. Like, I just ask you not to hurt me on purpose. Yeah, like, it should be, like, don't hurt me in general. But if you do it with good intention and, you know, help me after you hurt me. Like, okay, that's 100%. That was perfect. Like, if you hurt me, even by accident, you should still care and not be like, whatever, get over it. Help me through it. Like, I didn't do that on purpose, you need to get over it. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, what I did hurt you. I didn't mean it like that. Let's talk about it. Let's feel you better. Let me go get you a coffee or something. Let's talk about this. It should be that level of caring for you. Not that, hey, well, I know you feel bad right now, but let's go do this instead because I really don't want to deal with your emotions right now. Yeah, so, I was with this guy, and I really needed to talk to him, and it was concerning our relationship, and I didn't know what I was going to say yet. Like, I didn't plan to break up with him or start a fight. I wanted to genuinely talk to him and tell him how I felt and try and come up with a solution, and he was like, you sound upset. And I said, yeah, I'm kind of upset. I really need to talk about this. And he said, well, I'm busy and I have class. And I think it was 15 minutes or a half an hour or something. And I was like, that's enough time. Like, I just need to talk to you right now. And he's like, okay, well, I'm busy right now. And to be fair, he was doing something, but it wasn't something that he couldn't have done later, and he had more than enough time to step away from it. It was this small event that he...
Listen, bud, you're not too busy for me.
Okay. Anywho, he told me, he said, well, if you're upset, go talk to your best friend right now till you're not mad anymore, and then we'll talk later, okay? And I was like...
Bro, don't ever say that shit to me.
It's over. I caught him in between classes, and I broke up with him, and he was so surprised. Like, he looked hurt, too, and I wasn't happy about it, but after that, it was a bottom line. Like, the bar was so low. You still couldn't reach it.
That's so bad. That's so bad. I'm very, very picky. And my bar is very high.
That's why I need to bounce the people I like off of you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I have to bounce them. You have to bring my bar lower. I have to bring yours up.
Yeah, there we
100%.
go.
100%. Because I am
like, Dre,
slightly...
people aren't perfect.
I am slightly a perfectionist, right? Because I strive to make myself as perfect as possible. So I want them to be as perfect as possible. And that's just not fair.
People are human.
100%.
And you realize that. You may, like, think that at first, like, first instinct.
Yeah,
like,
but, you know, I had to get over it.
You know how you're like people.
Grow up a little.
You've grown up a lot. I have too. I've gotten better.
Yeah. I mean, you're becoming more of an individual, less of a dependent. Is it codependence or something? Something like that.
Well, there was this guy that I bumped into from high school not too far back, and I talked to him a little bit, and we had a good conversation, and he's like, man, if I would have known you were like this in high school, then maybe I would have talked to you more, like maybe we would have been friends. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't allowed to have a personality in high school. But it's always been there.
That's...
I'm way better now. I'm chilling.
One day we'll talk about toxicity.
Oh, we got a book on that.
100%.
And not just us. Like, we've seen it happen around us. It's just...
Oh, yeah. Like, there's plenty of situations I've seen toxic people. I've seen people I don't like with people I do like. But, you know, I'm not trying to start fires, burn bridges, or anything like that. So I'm more passive about it. It's like, if they ask me directly how I feel, I'm not going to lie to them. I'm going to be like, they're not my favorite person. That's how I'll start it and see how they react to something like that. I'm like, it's not who I'd imagine you with. But if you're happy, that's fine with me. You know, something like that. I'm always, all I care about is the person that I care about. So I don't care about the person you're with at all, right? Unless that is somebody I care about, right? But that situations are situational. But I'm talking in theory. If I don't know who you're with, and they're just kind of like, to me, they're your person, they're your significant other or something, I don't care about them. I care about you entirely, right? So if my boy come to me, he having girl problems, I'm like, are you happy, bro? Like, that's what I care about. I care about how you feel. I don't care about the relationship, what you think is right or wrong. All I care about is how you feel.
I appreciate that. That makes me feel so validated when I come to you for advice. I'll be like, hey, like, I know everything considered, I shouldn't be as upset at this. And you're like, no, be upset. Tell me why you're upset.
Yeah, feel. You need to feel.
Why aren't you happy, bro?
Yeah, you need to feel how you feel. It's like, because I'm gonna come at it, if it's my relationship, I'm gonna be logical like that. I'm gonna be like, you know, I shouldn't feel like this and stuff like that. I'll do basically exactly what you're doing. But, so I struggle to practice what I preach, but I preach what I preach because I try and practice it myself.
Hey, I should have...
Because I do the opposite of what you do. Where it's like, you'll stop yourself from feeling stuff, and I'll be like, I'll be feeling it because I'm thinking about it too much. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this. So now I'm mad because I thought about this situation. And you're like, I shouldn't be mad because of all these good things that are happening. And I'm like, you can be mad in this situation and talk about it.
So I get so overwhelmed with how I'm feeling that when maybe I'm not in the greatest headspace and I try and compartmentalize and keep everything going to function, like to go work and do what needs to get done. It's healthy. But then like something else big happens on top of that. I just get so overwhelmed that I want to shut down. Like, I want to pull away from people and I want to just like turn on that like numb.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to feel
You want to stop feeling.
I want to stop feeling.
Since you're such a big feeler, you're feeling too much right now.
It feels like a physical pain.
Yeah.
Like, when I feel pain, it hurts me. Like, I talked to another old friend from middle school, someone I was really close to, and she is more of a thinker than a feeler, and I'm more of a feeler. And I said, I don't understand how you think about these things. And we were kind of in the same situation. She handled it way differently. And she said, well, think about this. When you feel emotion, you feel it. Like, when you're upset, you feel it in your stomach. You can't eat or you can't do anything because it physically hurts you to be in pain. When you're elated, you are, like, high on life. Like, you can feel so deeply. And she said, when I am
That's
upset,
really smart.
She said, I think that I'm upset. She's like, it's all internal thinking. And she said, it still plagues me the same way it plagues you. Like, you're upset, you're in pain. And she said, I'm upset, but because I'm thinking so hard, it makes me feel like I'm in pain.
Yeah,
she said, I don't actually feel it. I think through everything, and that is her purgatory.
Yeah, me and her are the same.
Yeah, and I never thought that some people didn't feel the same way. It helped me when I hung out a lot with Max. He thought a lot different than I did, and sometimes I wouldn't understand why he would do things and that they would hurt me. And she's like, well, he's not thinking that you feel it like that. Like, he wants to push you away because he thinks it's going to be better for you. And to him, if someone pushed him away, he'd be like, oh, I understand. I feel sad, but I understand. When, to me, it feels like I'm on my knees and, like, scratching at my chest, like, it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
It's a little dramatic, but in the worst case scenario.
Being dramatic is fine.
You're a drama king.
I am a little bit. It's because I don't feel so much that I have so much fun with drama, because it feels more like a movie to me, and less like actually my feelings are being played with, because you can only hurt me if I let you. That's how being a thinker is, right? You can only hurt me if I let you hurt me, because I have to think about you hurting me in order for me to be hurt.
I think I actually heard that from him as well. Like, he said something along that, like, I don't let you hurt me, you're not gonna hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, how can you hurt someone that, like, I only feel the pain when I think about you? So I just stop thinking about you. And it's
that
like...
amazes me.
And it's the times when I can understand my feelings. I'm stuttering because I'm thinking while I'm talking. And I hate that I stutter. But it's basically when I think about the person continuously, even when I'm trying to not think about them because I don't want to think about them anymore because I don't like them or yada yada yada, then that's how I know that feelings are there. Because I don't feel the feelings, right? Mm-hmm. But it's certain things in my thinking, little patterns that I see or whatnot that aren't normal to my thinking. Like thinking about someone so much that I get a headache. Because I think so much that, like, every other day I have, like, a headache. I have, like, headaches constantly because of how much I think. Like, it physically hurts my brain. Mm-hmm. And that's how
you take in emotion.
Those are how I find my feelings. I have to find my feelings in my thought processes. It's a lot harder for me to understand feelings because originally I struggled and I didn't even understand how people felt at all. But, like, doing things like that and trying to relate and putting in the effort and caring is what really helped me get my perspective and be like, hey, feelings are real and you need to find them and understand what they are. And being able to do that is how I learned to be like, hey, if you're feeling something, it's okay to feel it and you should feel it, mm-hmm. right? You shouldn't push your feelings away. Because, you know, as a thinker, I can do that. I can push feelings away. I can hide them. I can
but it's not healthy.
Compartmentalize them, but they absolutely destroy you, especially if you're a thinker.
It's good that you know that you're like, hey...
Well, mentally destroy me. Physically, they would destroy you if you compartmentalize.
Yes, that's true. Like, I can get so bad that I won't notice that I'm not been hungry. I've been so distracted with, like, anxiety that I don't eat. And then I'm not eating and I feel super weak and I feel bad and I start sleeping more. I just, like, physically, everything comes out like that. That does remind me of something, though. I had a class, and one of the questions she wanted to know was, do you think that people are aware of, like, their top 3 best characteristics or traits? And
I am, for me, for sure.
And, like, some of their negatives? And what's easier to identify, your positive traits or your negative traits, your top three?
Easier to identify your negatives, for a thinker. I would definitely say for sure. I don't know since I'm not a feeler, so I couldn't answer that for you.
I think it.
But I can identify both because of my confidence.
So that's a good that you stated that it's confidence.
Yeah, I think it's confidence that gives me the ability to say my tops, because I think most people would struggle to say what they are, what's good about them.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I replied that it's personally harder for me to think about the positives than the negatives, just because I don't have the confidence to feel like the things I'm good at are that great.
What are your top threes of each? Because I have my top three goods, and then my top three bads I kind of struggle with a little bit. So I want at least your perspective on mine. You don't have to say yours if you don't want to.
Okay.
But my top three are, one of them is more debatable, like my confidence. That's more of a debatable top three. That's maybe like a third spot. I can switch between a lot of things. But my top two for sure, like my number one is my advice and like how I talk to people, like the way I can like be caring and stuff and allow people to be themselves. Mm-hmm. Basically is my top one.
Oh, I agree with
my
that
second one is my looks, and my third one is my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But the third one can be debatable. But I'm not giving up the first two.
So my top three would probably be that I'm a person that people can approach. Mm-hmm. And that they feel like they can tell me things that they're afraid to tell other people, or to confide in me. A lot of people have felt like they could confide in me when they couldn't confide with people that they were technically closer to.
Yeah, I guess I have that too, but I hate that I have that. My father has it too, and we call it the our family's curse. Is that people we don't know will tell us way too deep of things way too often.
Oh, well, sometimes it's uncomfortable because
exactly
it's too much. Like, I have a lot going on, and
yeah, we'll meet somebody at the sandwich shop and we learn that their ex-wife cheated on them. Bro, I didn't need to know. Didn't need to know.
Well, I understand that sometimes it's like just too much, but I really like that
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I really like that people think I'm an understanding person. I try my best to be an understanding person and be able to like relate and empathize with people. It makes me happy that I can relate to them in that way and that we have that connection. It's probably my second trait. My third trait, I'm super hardworking.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess that goes with resiliency. Like, I'm Brazilian, and so I will just keep pushing on things that are important to me.
That's one of my bad traits. I'm kind of a workaholic.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
With school and work, I take no days off. So if I have work or school that day, I do nothing. Like, my mother will want me to go on family vacations with her and stuff like that. If I have school or work, I'm not going.
I knew that. I was a little concerned about that. We should really take a trip.
It's kind of like, I kind of get it from my father, because he doesn't really take days off, but it's more of like, he takes days off every now and then, but I personally just don't like seeing people and going out and stuff like that, and I'd rather just stick to my schedule. I'm a super schedule-oriented person. If things aren't on a schedule for me, if my week is planned out every week, it is a schedule.
You gotta pencil me in.
Oh yeah, 100%. Everything needs to be penciled in for me, and that's probably like one of my worst traits.
It's good.
I mean, it's good for
extreme.
It's good for my life, but it's bad like socially. It's like I'm not like spontaneous or anything like that. I'm just
you have to find a happy medium.
Everything it's kind of boring, is how I'd put it. It's hard to like live with me and be with me and like consistently, because every week is the exact same. Like, I have the same meal for breakfast every single day, and I'll never get tired of it.
What I would do if I had like a schedule, because my household is so crazy, I can't plan things out. I don't know how tomorrow's gonna look.
Yeah.
I don't know how 5 p.m. is gonna look, because things just happen and keep happening. And so I think I would be super comfortable at first, like having a routine and just knowing that that's gonna happen. That brings me like a little bit of comfort. But I am super impulsive.
Yeah, I'm like the opposite. Like, in a way, I'll have to describe this to you. It's like, if I don't have my schedule, I'm uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you find comfort in finding that schedule, but you're not exactly uncomfortable outside of your schedule. You're not uncomfortable without a schedule. I'm very uncomfortable without a schedule.
Like, if I draw the schedule and to-do list out in pretty pens and sparkles, it makes me really happy, but if I don't do that, I can still go to the store and get whatever I need to get.
Yeah.
And know what I need to do tomorrow.
Yeah, for me, it's like the opposite. If what for me to do doesn't happen, I'm upset. But, I mean, it's good because I have a very rigid schedule and I'm good with deadlines and stuff. Like, I work out every single day, and I never missed a day in my life. I'm camping out in the middle of the woods. I am doing sit-ups on a log.
That is dedication.
Yeah, like I have not missed a day for I think 3 years.
What are your other two?
My other two worst is it's, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but past, like history stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like that I still need to learn from. It's like I've done a lot of bad things, and like my personality hasn't molded to be like, hey, this is a bad thing that you shouldn't do anymore, or like, not exactly like that. It's like I see it and it's like I won't repeat this, but I do something similar because my brain hasn't exactly processed that doing this kind of thing is bad. But I'm like, oh, when I did that, that was wrong, and I won't do that again. But I do something similar because I don't understand the concept yet.
Mm-hmm. So just self-growth.
Yeah, so I have like mini bads that I see. It's like a bunch of things. I'm like, okay, you need to grow up, and you need to learn more emotional concepts. Is that like I think that my emotions are very weak.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think too much, and I don't have the emotions to feel, so I can't tell how someone's feeling emotionally unless they talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't off rip see it. I mean, sometimes I can because I'm learning, but
yeah,
when it's obvious and you can see the disgust or hate in their face, or like someone's super tired or something, you can see stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's like the small things, just miss them. And third, I don't know, I struggle with that one.
Okay, no problem.
I can't think.
No,
I'm too perfect.
No, you were great. You were a legend. No, I think my 3 traits that are not my favorite, my negative traits, are that I am super overly trusting. It gets me in so much trouble. Like, it's nice that I can open up to people, but I let people go way too far.
Way too deep.
And it hurts me so bad, and I let people walk all over me. The second one is that I don't have the best confidence. I'm working on that, but I like put myself down a lot, and that's a negative trait.
Yeah, hanging out with me will help you.
Yeah, of course. He will be your number one hype man, believe me. Whenever I get a new style, it's, oh, mom status today? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
my
I support any
confidence
decision.
boosts. And then my third one is probably...
See, when you're with me, you struggling for them negatives, huh?
No, it's just, I have a lot of negatives. I'm trying to think of the top 3, and I've been trying to focus on the positives lately.
The other problem, huh? You got too many, you don't know which one to put in that bottom 3 position. I guess for me, mine would be, my bottom third would be an antisocial kind of thing, where it's like, I can not text you for like a year and like have no problems with it, and like think that there's nothing wrong with that kind of thing. Of like, I just don't reach out to people as much as I should.
I don't ask for help. When I need it, I will still say no. I just feel like I'm...
Yeah, that's why you have to learn when your no's mean yes.
I've been doing better. I've
Yeah,
been doing
yeah.
a lot better.
You've actually been saying no to things. Good job. I'm proud.
Sometimes it's just, I've been gaslit into thinking like I'm a jerk for saying no to something that's perfectly okay to say no to. Like, you offer me water and you already start pouring it. I'm like, yeah, I'll take some water because you've already started pouring it, but maybe I hate that certain brand of water. I'm not a water snob, but I know some people who like only drink their specific types of water.
Mm-hmm. I know how you feel, but it's been a while. Podcast is getting a little long. I don't want to keep it going.
We're at a good stopping pace.
Yeah, it's a good place to stop because we just hit the final 3, and you learning how to say no is a good place to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the My Life's a Movie podcast. We went over time by quite a bit.
We appreciate you guys.
I apologize for that.
Thanks
but
for
I have been your host, Dre.
And Artemis.
And thanks for tuning in this week.
Alright, have a good one.